All right. Welcome back to the Board Drill Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Kyle. With me is my co host, Matt. Tonight, we have a special guest, Coach Dan Blackbourn, who's the OC at Brooks County High School in Valdosta, Georgia. Coach, welcome to the Board Drill.
Good to be here. I appreciate you having me on.
You're very classy with the applause.
I love that. Yeah, very classy.
So, Coach, tonight we're going to talk a little quick game, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Coach, go ahead and share your screen. While he's sharing his screen, I'm going to go ahead and encourage you to like and subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at Board Drill, on TikTok at Board Drill, and subscribe to us at our website, which is boarddrill.com. If you subscribe at our website, you'll get our weekly articles right to your email inbox when they come out. Usually we do about 2 a week. We also put our podcast on there as well. So if you kind of want a one-stop Board Drill shop, it's hard to say there, Matt, go ahead and subscribe at boarddrill.com. So, Coach, quick game. Go ahead and take us away. We're going to be the dummies that just ask questions.
Yes, sir. Everything good? You see all that right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see here. All right. Just pulling up. All right. All right. So, quick game as far as just stuff I wanted to talk about. Still good with me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, I know a lot of people are doing quick game, and basically they're, it's only an extension of their RPO game. So what I believe in the quick game, and I've kind of believed in it since, I moved down here in 2022 from Illinois. I was coordinating up in Illinois and kind of cut my teeth with the quick game. It's something that I believe in, and I know, like I said, obviously a lot of people use it with their RPOs, but I believe it should be and will be for us a standalone pass game. I mean, we'll have our RPO games with a lot of these things, but this is what I teach when I go in day one, wherever I go. So like I said, I didn't get a lot of time this spring. I mean, a lot of people, in Georgia, they're getting their 4-on-1 time.
Yeah.
Early, March, April. I was still working in Waycross in Ware County, so during the spring, I had to drive over there from Waycross a good hour and a half, and so I didn't get a lot of time. So we are still in the very, very elementary process of our quick game. So a lot of these things you're going to see are probably going to be pretty ugly. I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to kind of talk about just how we do it and where we start. So where we start with all the time. So there's a lot of different formations that we run these things out of. And I had them different names when I, was calling back in the old land of Lincoln. But as I moved down here, I kind of adapted to what Brooks County was already doing. So I've kind of adapted my system to what they were doing, but I, made it work with my terminology and how I teach it. So we always start with one was just, for them, it was all hitches. So when we are teaching quick game, I'm a believer, obviously this guy's hand in the dirt, wing, but whenever we are a receiver, we always have inside foot up because everything that I do in the quick game is step-based. A lot of people are kind of about yards and whatnot, but I am all about steps with this. So inside foot is up. So if we're running one all hitches, we are going 5-step hitch here. So it just times up. Inside foot up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stick. Talk about sticking our foot. All right, sticking our foot and getting big. If we have to play basketball, we get that guy on our backside. So we'll see. Like I said, some of these are probably really ugly. Yep, probably looks like shit here. Okay. So, like I said, we are on the elementary process. We had 9 days in the spring. We've had 2 weeks so far this summer. So we're good 4 weeks getting this stuff in. And I'll be honest with a lot of these kids here, this was new to them, just the detail that I was coaching this on. So a lot of times it was just like a lot of yardage and it was kind of arbitrary, but, I broke it down to the very nitty-gritty details of steps. If we go trips here, it's the same thing, 5-step hitch, but we tell this guy he's OTB. He's over the ball. If we're
okay. So your number 3 basically is going to be the guy that does that spot over the ball or whatever you want to call it.
Yep. So trips, or we could be like what we call a strong set, which he's basically a wing. It's essentially our strong formation, which he's 1-by-1 off the tackle. So this is a young dude that we're breaking in, trying to get him acclimated to the Y, but he should be running OTB just over the ball. These other guys, we'll see how it looks. This is our young pups right here. I mean, he finds space. When I teach this to also the quarterbacks, I'm working the quarterbacks this summer. I was working more tight ends, but I transitioned to quarterbacks. This stuff should be catch and throw. He should not be taking a drop. So I'm still, working with the young pups as far as just catching and letting it rip. We got our guys on a read man, especially as we get into some of our other concepts. We gotta bang that thing out. So that's another young guy. I'm gonna skip that, see if I can get some of the older guys here. Yeah, this is one of our varsity guys. So really, ideally, I want him to find a side pre-snap. I want him clean his side. I want matchups. Okay. I mean, in my eyes, I'm thinking, okay, he should be throwing right here to this H. He's got leverage. He's got grass. We should be looking to bang that out right there. But our guy, he's thinking, okay, well, I got a 6'4", 215-pound guy committed to Texas A&M. I'm just gonna, when in doubt, just find him and throw him the ball.
Not the worst idea in the world.
No, not the worst. And as good as he is, we still need to get him coached up because he took 3 steps, and I want 5 on that. So we'll let him know. I usually note up practice. Got some backyard football at times, but we're getting him coached up too. So when he's ready to rock and go to A&M, we can say that we've developed him a little bit. So he's got some work to do, but he's an absolute freak show. It always helps having guys like that.
Yes, it does.
So the old practice fields of Thomas County Central out here, you can hardly see anything because it's all sand. Okay, so trips. He did not run his OTB there. He should have. Okay, so that was a bust on our end. Quarterback should be ripping it out sooner. And the ball placement's got to be a little bit better. We're telling that guy he's got to put him on his backside. That ball should be coming right here to that dude's right shoulder. So just like I said, stuff we're getting better on. This was last Tuesday. So I'll be honest with you, from where we were last Tuesday to where we were today, like we're getting better and better every single day. So some of these things are sloppy as hell last week that looked a ton better this week. And this is a real basic thing for us too. Like to be honest, I don't really call a lot of just all hitches unless I know I'm getting some like true quarters, and guys are backed off a little bit. They're scared of our freak show here, and our kid over here is committed to Georgia Tech. So like I said, I've never had a wealth of options like this ever in 19 years of coaching football. So
I don't think many people have.
No. So I'm trying to keep it basic with them and just keep expanding, but in my eyes it's more about like we're going to do these things and we're going to get really, really good at them. Because if you know how to run your routes correctly and fine tune these things, like who can stop you with the ability that you already have? So kind of find some grass here, not bad. I don't know. Our quarterback, we fixed that mechanics here. We're gotten rid of that little, what I call going down to the bowling alley, kicking that garbage out. I'm not sure what that was, but we're cleaning.
Coach, you added doubles here. You have all hitches across. What are you teaching your running back to? He should be over the ball there? Is that what?
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. So he's the 6-man protection. If obviously nothing shows, then we're just working over the ball. So he's just got a checked release, essentially OTB. So
got it.
Like I said, that's new for him a lot of times because I don't think they've done a whole lot of 6-man slide or 6-man half slide and stuff like that. So it's a little new for even the backs. So it's all a process, and kid's pretty good here. He can scoot. He came over from Valdosta a couple years ago, so I actually coached him his first 2 years, and then he came over last year. So found out as I was watching the state championship game that this kid was on Brooks County. I said, when the hell did he get there? So
Hey, Coach, you were into the boundary there with twins. Looks like you are again.
Yep.
And it looked like your slot had a certain point he was trying to get to. Is there any spacing rules or anything you have into the boundary?
Oh, we let them play with it a little bit there. Like I don't want a ton of freelancing, but when we run this hitch, or essentially when we run stick, in my eyes, it's not a whole lot different. I'm talking about finding grass, finding that that overhang and working off of him. Not a ton, but if we can just get that guy on our backside, I'm teaching the QBs that they got to find that leverage. They got to find that where that defender is, and we're going to throw away from it. So we're boxing them out. We're playing basketball.
I got you.
Makes sense.
And if you get any press man coverage on the outside, are you going to have them convert at all? Or are you going to work towards that?
Yeah,
or are
so
you
that's
hitch no matter what?
That's one of the next steps. Like I said, we're slowly working into where we're going to transition this. You know what I mean? So we're not quite there yet. Like I'm just really trying to fine tune everything we do in just the basic quick game. But eventually we're going to get to the point where, if we're getting pressed and we happen to call this, then, especially with dudes out here.
Not say with your 6'4" guy, you better be converting that to a fade.
No, we will be. So we'll be converting that and, take our chances running a fade ball with him, because I hadn't seen him at all. Like he didn't practice in the spring because he was recovering from a high ankle sprain that he had doing all that 7-on-7 nonsense that me as an O-line guy by trade, got to do it, but I hate doing it. But yeah, he was doing some 7-on-7, tweaked his ankle, and so he didn't do anything all spring. I'd never seen him, and this was the second day I saw him out here. He made some catches out here at the 7-on-7 we were at. That was stuff I've never seen in my life. It was absolutely incredible. So and he's only going to be a junior, which is great.
Jeez.
So I'm going to get out of this one and show you some of our other ones. We have one seam, so I don't think we haven't ran that a ton. So let's take a look at. So 4 is one that I like. Okay, so this 4 is just a double slant. And like I said, you're going to see good, bad, and extremely bad or ugly. So when I run the double slants, it essentially turns into, you don't think about these kids think about like old school slants and like, oh, I got to get all the way across the field. Like we're talking outside guys that are running 5-step and their inside guys that are running 3. In this situation, that kid has to beat that kid across his face and he's getting vertical. We're not getting across the middle. We're finding windows. His window right here should be bam running there. And sorry, my mouse, it's terrible. But we're trying to essentially open that window right here for this 5-step slant coming behind it, if that makes sense. We're an inside out progression on that. So, if we can bang that inside slant, great. But we need to get inside those defenders. So this guy's coming on a blitz. Okay. But he's got it. Like I said, this was this guy's second or third day transitioning from defense to offense. So what you're going to see here, I remember this one, is it essentially turns into the world's ugliest mesh concept here. So like, oh, Lord, you see me down here like, what the hell are we doing? Like, oh, God, talking to the headset, like, we got to coach that up because that's not what we're looking for. But they're getting better at it. Like I said, our big boy, tweaked a hammy this day, so he's out there, and we're telling him, like, you got to stop. And he's like, no, I'm going to be all right. So we shut him down the other day, but, yeah, he tweaked his hammy now too, so it's just fighting that battle.
Coach, did you say you're having your outside guys do a 5-step slant?
Yes, sir. So 3-step. So from the outside in, 5 and 3. And at times, this 3-step, we're telling the guy it may have to be a 1-step. So I have to get inside that guy. I have to get inside because I'm trying to pull this guy down so I can get a nice window here, nice window there. Make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I do like this in the red zone a little bit. If you can pull that guy out and you got a guy that can run routes very well. Okay. But really, I'm these little guys, sorry, my wife and dog are fucking off whatever the hell they're doing. So, but yeah, we're trying to open that for our outside slant here. That's the goal.
Yep.
If we can bang that inside slant, great, but that ball has got to come out quick for our QB. Like I said, we're still working on them. It should be literally catch, rocker step, bam, I got to get it out. And, early on here in the summer, we're still taking like a quick 1-2 or quick 3. Like, I don't want that. Like, to me, that's not quick game. That's, a 3-step drop in the gun. Like, I'm not teaching that. It's true single side, I'm based on leverage matchups, cushion, all that good stuff. And you got to roll with it.
Yeah.
If you like your matchup over here, which I would, there's a guy there, but you got no number. You got 4 guys essentially over 2, 3 over 2. Okay. So we'll get him, bam, right here, and hopefully he can get in the window right behind him. I don't remember what the hell.
Grip it and rip it. Let it go. And it looks like you have here on this concept on your 4, you have number 3 doing a swing route or a swing or a bubble. Yeah.
He's just trying to take a flat defender with him. So, if we can move that guy a little bit, we get an even better window. So, the slant right here from our dude probably needs to get better. 1, 2, 3, 4. He rolls off the inside foot. So I don't know if that's him, testing that ankle out still, but he's got to get 5 steps and stick. But when you're a dude, you just, throw him the ball and he goes catch it. So, but trying to clean that stuff up just to try to make him elite, And if he does everything that we're asking in the system, then, hoping that he can put up some video game numbers here. But yeah, he's a dude. All right, let's take a look here. So really on this right there, I don't want that. So you saw he ran behind him. If I see a guy that's coming at me right there, I'm going to have to cut that a little shorter, and I got to get my ass inside of him. You know what I mean? I don't want to run behind this dude because I don't really have a window, So the closes right down there, right there, and now we can't hit the outside slant either. And he tries to rip it, but you see that's a tough throw. That quarterback, I'm telling him, bam, that ball, if you're throwing that outside slant, he sticks that 5th step, that ball's got to be out. So, like I said, it's a process for them too, just trusting these things and knowing when the ball should come out. And I'm, like I said, working with those guys daily. I'm giving them their QB notes on huddle. And, in my notes that I have annotated here that I turned off, I guarantee I told them, bam, that ball's got to be out now. As soon as he sticks that 5th step, if there's a window, you need to bang that ball. And this kid's got the arm to do it, and the other kid that you saw the previous play, they both have got the arms to do it. So
yeah,
like I said, ugly right now, but we're getting better at it. So I'd like to get a little bit more vertical. I mean, he finds space, but I'm trying to get that more vertical and get it upfield. So, I mean, some of these things work out, but it's not necessarily exactly how we want it. Like, for example, right here, when this guy on this right, when he beats him, I want him getting upfield more. I don't want him drifting over here. I try to tell those guys all the time, hey, if you take that across the middle, you got a linebacker waiting to take your head off. If the quarterback hangs you out to dry, like your ass is getting knocked out by a linebacker because you drifted too far inside. So just got to keep preaching. This kid's going to be an incoming freshman, so he's learning, but he's doing a pretty good job so far.
Yeah, and you want that outside defender to carry with him. You want to get inside leverage on him. You want him to run with it to clear that space for that outside slant. It looks like the guy on the right runs a really good pattern there, replacing what would be if the defender follows.
Yeah. I mean, he almost turns it into like a fin route or a squeeze concept, it'd be called.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's another kid who's got some talent. We're cleaning up his routes and everything here as well.
I'm just over here fuming about the drone moving during play.
The what?
The drone going forward during the play. Stop it.
Yeah, I know.
I was obsessed with drones.
That's what I do for a living. So
we're, training some high school kids to do it. So we have our good moments, some bad moments, but
I know I'm just playing around, Coach.
Yeah, no, when you got the high school kids, like if we can just get their ass out there, that's a win. That's a win for the Trojans.
Yeah, you let them play with a drone. That's got to be an easy one, right?
And so far, knock on wood, they have yet to, smash it into a tree or a building or anything else, or have it crash down on the pavement. So, we're winning so far.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I said, all right. So yeah, this is from last Tuesday. This is what the hell is that program? Gadsden County. So I mean, some dudes,
yeah, Gadsden.
Dudes versus dudes here. See, I'm not that familiar. Like I said, I've only been down here since 2022.
Yeah, they're right outside of Tallahassee.
Yeah, I had to ask the guys, like, where's Gadsden County at? I knew they were good. Like, they played Coffee County last year and like played them tough. Like, and then went to the state championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know they got some dudes. So, but not bad here by this dude. This is one of our other guys who, not talk about him, but he's playing a little bit of H&Y for us. 6'3", 185. Another got like some FCS offers. He's more of a defensive guy, and I saw him this spring. I'm like, why is this dude not playing offense? Like, this is a 1A school. Like, this guy needs to play offense. He runs pretty good routes. He's got good hands, and he's 6'3". So we got him playing, and he's been a really, really, really pleasant surprise for us. So between him and this dude, I think we'll be okay. It's another big body with good hands.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a great job by the left side.
What's that?
Great job by the left side there.
Yeah, not bad. Pretty good stick right there. Bam. His name's Anton. Pretty good 1-2. Bam. Good stick. That's what we talk about. Sticking that foot. 1, 2. It could be a little better. A little false step, but he's getting kind of understanding our coaching points of sticking that foot and, selling that route and maneuvering a guy with your route. Like, our guys are a little uncomfortable at times, like stepping on someone's toes and smelling their breath and, working their leverage against them, you know what I mean, or their technique against them. But we're getting better at it.
Coach, on the right side, your receiver gets, someone up in his face, and it looks like he tries to avoid him or something. What ideally would you want that outside receiver to the right side to do in that situation, running a slant route?
Yeah. So first thing, we would tell him, or I would tell him, is like, all right, well, first you got your right foot up, and we need you to get your left foot up. So we need you to drive vertical into that guy. I don't care. Like, you can rip through this upfield shoulder, but you have to drive vertical. Like, yes, I understand you're trying to get off press here, but you need to work whatever, maneuvers your receivers coach is working with you. You have to press vertical. Like, we can't have you dip inside that far because that's just kind of screwing up the timing. If he likes this matchup over here, and like I said, we're not having him look one side and come back. Like, we're not protecting for that. We're protecting for this ball to get ripped out in a hurry. So we need him to get his feet right here first. We need him to press vertical, bam, and stick it. So if you have to run through that guy and avoid, you should be able to do that. You're a dude. So just getting better with our takeoffs and, hand fighting, like something we all got to work on. Our guys right now, especially the younger ones, aren't always the best at their releases. But like I said, just continuing to work on them every single day with them. We're slowly getting to where we want to be. It's like I said, your standard, summer 7-on-7 defense where you got 2 safeties at 5 yards, right, or 10 yards, and playing, zone underneath. Everybody loves that on 7-on-7. That's what I love. This is not 4. This is our fade out concept, which is 5, so I must have labeled it wrong, which I'll get into next. We got a dude. He was out of bounds, though. So I can get into 5 for you here. It's just your standard fade out that everybody, we got a bunch of tags, actually. let me show you some of the tags that we got here first. For whip. We've been running that here lately. We put it in this week. Just, we're still running our 5-step slant. But our inside guys, we're driving in hard, running a whip. This is just something I practice for us. Driving in hard, making contact, and whipping back out. It's been pretty good for us so far, like I said, in the last week or so. This is the young boys right here. So take that. He's got leverage. He's got to drive it inside and get vertical. So, like I said, in all these 7-on-7s, which I hate, like we're at the 5-yard line. I'm not running pass concepts. I'm running, I'm getting in 12 personnel, and I'm running Q power, and I'm running Q buck extra, and we're slamming the ball in here. I'm not running. So I guess it forces me to be creative in the pass game, because if I am going to throw it down here, I'm going to find where number 8 is, and I'm going to say, you go make a play, if I am having to throw it at the 5. But so try it down here. Decent route from number 6 here. Our other, good wide, not bad. 1 kind of screws us up because he should be running a slant, bam, right here, and just getting on the back of the end zone. Our stud just runs his slant, no window. He just keeps going and says, be an athlete and make a play. And then dances and probably gets flagged. Our film went to hell. We had some sort of adjustment to some sort of, the strawberry moon or whatever the hell it was the other day. Our young
Coach, I'll be the technical guy here. The white balance likely got set to the wrong correct setting here, or the ice.
White balance.
White balance.
I think it's a strawberry moon
on the camera.
I'm going with strawberry moon.
Strawberry
moon
like that sounds better. Way better.
If you're
sounds
listening,
way better,
I'm actually going to give a quick pointer. If you're listening
Todd
here,
really doesn't know what he's talking about.
Shut your mouth, Matt. If you're shooting during the day a lot when it's really bright, there's these little things called ND filters that you can snap on the end of the drone. It's like sunglasses for a drone. It'll keep everything from getting washed out. So if you're listening, that's a little point. They're about $25. They're not very expensive.
I'm going to have to listen to this again and take notes for our young dudes who are doing it so they can get that squared away.
Coach, just send me a DM. I'll send it all to you.
Yeah, let's go. Let's rock.
just throw some sunglasses on that thing and send it up.
No doubt.
Basically, that's an ND filter.
Okay. So, yeah, we were having cloud cover and then damn near a solar eclipse coming out here on this day that we had. It just got really bright and our camera was all jacked up. So here the play started a little late. Like I said, oh, no, it's not bad. Drive him inside, not bad. Bam, throws it where he can make a play. So just real easy concept for us.
Now, what's your general rule that you teach for the whip? I know everybody kind of does it differently.
So what I'm usually telling, and right now we're just kind of toying with it as far as how many steps, because I said we're step-based.
Yeah.
But the big thing is I'm telling my guy he has to collision this guy. We're talking shoulder into him. We're not talking a shove, And we're usually at 4 steps or 6 steps, because that would be able to get your foot planted the correct way where you can spin out of that thing and get to the sideline. So based on the leverage we have, we're talking usually 4 or 6. And I give them a little bit of flexibility. But the main thing is I'm telling them we need to go collision this guy, because we have some things that we do out of trips where, our number 3 or here would be running a shoot. He's getting out of there in a hurry, and we have the whip coming right behind it, which I can show you. It's been awesome for us so far this summer. But we need that guy to be patient, especially when we're doing it in trips. Collision that flat defender. Said, not shoving him. Because, if I say we got to collision this guy and run into him, our guys would literally just barrel into him because, the mentality of Brooks County is bring the hammer. So if you tell them to go hit somebody, they're just going to go run at him, knock the hell out of them. So just got to tell them to put a little shoulder into him and spin off that, something legal. So it's been pretty good for us here this past week. Like I said, we put it in this week So,
I really
don't
like
judge
that,
our
Coach.
cameras. You're the camera guy here. Let your dude find a window.
The old from the 5-yard line and 7-on-7.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I know. I hate it. Part of the 7-on-7 we had a thing with like the Jacksonville Jaguars, do their little thing.
Yeah.
Apparently their new thing this year is they're going to like out to high schools for like a satellite thing, and they're doing like competitions, just a one-on-one competition, one school versus the next. So we were down in Madison County on Tuesday this week. Our linemen did all their thing, their OTA type thing with all their different competitions, and we had, scenario sort of things, and then we just played a true 7-on-7 game. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
They were state champs down there. We were runner up last year. I wouldn't say I wasn't, but like I said, I didn't earn anything. I'm trying to get me one of those, but
Down in old
the state title, and they won a state title. So heck, let's go play somebody 20 minutes down the road who's got some talent and is a good program.
The old Boot Hill. How do you enjoy that?
Yeah, what is that? I saw it on the score, but I don't. What does that mean?
That's their stadium.
Boot Hill. Okay, I kept seeing it all over. I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
It's one of those ones, man. It's Boot Hill. You're going to Boot Hill. All right.
Gotcha. I thought there was some sort of like
there probably is, and I don't know because I'm in between. I'm a Jacksonville / Tallahassee guy, so I don't know enough about Madison County other than I lost to them a handful of times back when Chris Thompson and Jacoby McDaniel were there. So that was a rough time coaching against those two.
That one, Coach Co was there.
Coach Co was there. Yeah, I was at Florida High, so it was a fun time.
Gotcha. Yeah, he's a good dude. I got to see him up close and personal when we were at Ware this year because was a big region rival, Ware and Coffee, and then Coffee went up to 5 and Ware stayed at 4. But yeah, good coach, good program. Anyways, get back to this here. Get me rambling off topic very easily. I think this is our young boys. Nope, this is our older guys. So, oh man. So I talked to him the other day. I was like, man, this guy's got leverage. This guy, is a dropper or whatever. He can't drop 8. Like, he's essentially matched up with him. And they're like, shoot, bang that out right here. Like, there's nothing easier than a little throw to the boundary. You're looking right at it. Oh, why'd you come off a bit? Oh, but we have that guy. So,
Great
really, he had either one of them. He could have banged that bam right there to the other little kid too. But, we're telling him to look, like I said, one side pre-snap. He sees that, like, probably going to ask him, like, what did you see there? Like, this guy's got it. This guy's 8, 9 yards from him. Bang that out to him, and we'll take 6, 7 yards. We'll take our chances there. Play caller's dream if I can get into 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3, like, then we can call darn near anything,
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a standard 7-on-7 bull crap. This is our young puppies. Throw it to this guy right here where there's a D tackle that's going to swat that right down in a real football game. So I don't even want to look at that. It makes me nauseous. I think this was the first day we installed it right here. Practice. Yeah, so we first started doing it, didn't really have leverage. Yep. Just go throw it to that dude again. Oh, and he dropped it. So yeah, this was day 1. We were still pretty ugly with it. You see, this was last week, and the 7-on-7 clips you saw were this week. So gotten a little bit better with it. There's the right read. Okay, they're gonna take you that. Oh, that was the one we saw before. So I'll get out of this. All right, so just our standard fade out, our 5. Okay, just like everybody's running some fade out. Obviously, we're telling our guys we got to read the corner. Whatever side you want to work, read that corner. Okay, so we see him, staring down 2. So we got to figure he's reading that out, so we're thinking maybe a hole shot here potentially. I don't remember what happened. He's got leverage here, so we'll take that. Quarterback puts a good ball on. A little behind him. Never mind. I misspoke. Got to get it in front of him just a little bit more. But it's the correct read. He's got the leverage. Stick. I'm teaching 4-step out on that. So I think he went a little long. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess not bad. I don't want him to round it nearly as much. So I'm teaching more of a square cut, not like, the speed
the
out
rollover
sort of thing.
cut. Yeah.
I'm teaching more of just the 4-step square out. Okay. These guys have good enough cutting ability. All right. We can still beat people with that. I don't want to drift them too far, when we do speed outs, because then you allow this safety to come down and get in the picture a little bit more. So that's the correct read, just because he's got leverage. Our out has leverage. Young boys here again. So he's that number 1 here. We need him to get 4 steps and then bang that thing out.
Coach, are you okay with your outside receiver here releasing inside, or do you want him to?
No.
I know you guys are still early in the process.
We've been fighting here too the last week or two is this has to be MOR, mandatory outside release. That's what we keep telling them, the acronym that MOR, mandatory outside release. It has to be. We do not want to get lazy and go inside release. We have to go outside. Otherwise, anybody who's getting over the top of that in safety, if he goes inside, then we just made it easy for him, We have to take it outside. Get outside, restack them, get them on your hip, and then we're fading away from the throw. Breaking them of always saying, go ball, go ball, go ball, go ball. We're not running a go ball. We're running a fade. There's a difference.
Yeah.
I had to kind of explain to him what a fade ball was. We're getting that guy on our hip, and we're fading away at the last second. Quarterbacks, we're teaching them if they're throwing that fade, it's got to be on the outside shoulder where either our guy gets it, or some statistician on the sidelines catching the ball. It's ours are nobody's. So it's not just a straight go, a vertical route. It's a fade ball. So just a little nuance that trying to teach them the game a little bit more.
Now,
And
Coach,
you having
just
your running
going back to that real quick.
Sure.
Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
You're good. No, go ahead, Coach.
Now, in your quick game here, right, you talked about picking a side. He goes from one side to the other. Is this kind of like no for you at this point? It's either one side, check down, or scramble?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. So, like I said, and it's easy, I guess, for him to do that because there's no linemen up there. There's no D linemen that are chasing after your little butt. We're protecting, like I said, quick game protection for us. Like, all I'm asking those linemen to block for is legitimately tops 2.5, 3 seconds. Ideally, I want the ball out in under 2, though. We're not asking,
especially if you get pressure too, right?
Yes.
I mean,
we're not
ball's got to come
those.
out. You don't have enough guys.
No. He needs to get the ball out quick. Okay. So, like, in my eyes, if he ran a great route here, I'm thinking, okay, this guy's got pretty good leverage if he runs this out. He's pressed up on him. I can throw this out right here. I should be thinking that. I come up and scan pre-snap. I know, okay, I'm going to work this side. We got a leverage advantage right here with number 1. It's like I said, it's just process with them. Like I gotten those guys in the film room to teach them these things is, so we're getting better at that. But yeah, and he did come off that there, but it didn't look like he was going to as he was whatever concept you D guys, some sort of, you guys both D guys?
I'm a defensive guy. They look like they're in cover 2 over there.
Yeah.
Because the guy kind of throttles down.
Both those guys trying to take the easy route. It has to be whoop, out there and whoop, out there. Mandatory outside release. So.
Well, yeah, that's your right. You talk about it here, and I'm almost 100% sure it's cover 2. Everyone teaches it a little differently. But because when you inside release, exactly what you're talking about, you almost take the whole shot away from yourself.
You do.
And so now if you have the corner that can come down the flat, You can't really throw. I mean, if you can throw the whole shot, but you're going to get someone murdered at best. At worst, it's going to be a pick.
When he's
that's
in
where
here,
that outside release is important because it creates that space for the whole shot.
No doubt about it. Because when he goes in there, that guy doesn't have to go real far. But if he's here, that's another, 4, 5, 6 yards. Maybe that guy doesn't get to that ball, and we can bang that whole shot because he's got a good arm, and the other guy's got a good arm too. We can make that throw.
Now, it's probably a great way to draw a targeting call, but
yeah, no doubt. Absolutely.
That's what you're looking for. You could probably get that, especially at the high school level. Any hard hit, they throw a flag now.
No doubt. Yep. Absolutely.
Coach, if you have a number 3 receiver for this concept, what are you going to do with him?
I don't run it a ton out of that, but if I did, I would probably just kind of like we run our verts. If he was here, let's say, and we were back, in the middle of the field, I would just send him down here, splitting those safeties.
It's gonna pipe it.
Okay.
More of an occupier than anything.
Yeah.
If somehow those guys just literally go and do that, which I doubt they would, and he's, wide open, we would bang it. But really, he would be in a situation right there where he's just occupying the middle of the field to see if maybe he can pull one of those guys and, we can do whatever on the outside. But when we do go trips, 4 verts, he's in here and he's getting across the field and, trying to get to that opposite hash and whatnot. So let's see what we got here. He does a better job there. Like I said, that's our guy getting outside release. Oop, didn't catch that one. I'm telling him, though, I need that ball out even quicker. Bam. Catch, let it rip. Nitpicking about it. Catch, let it rip. And at that point of the day, his hammy was killing him. And I saw him make this last week where he jumped over literally 2 dudes from, Gadsden County and made him look absolutely silly. So we expect him to make that catch. As crazy as that sounds. All right, did we already see that? We did. All right. I can show you a couple other ones. Let's see. Like a slot fade concept. This one's not a quick game, but so far it's probably been our best concept. This one is more of a 3-step if you're cool with that.
Yeah.
It's your podcast, Coach.
Okay. So this is one that I stole from Coach Zach Grage, who was at Thomasville for a while, was Rush Probe's offensive coordinator at Colquitt in 2014, 15-ish, somewhere around there, won a couple state championships. So he was a Rush disciple. So this was essentially a concept from the old Rush Probes tree here that I stole when I was at Valdosta and put it in here, and it's been phenomenal for us. So how it works is we did fly motion here, but if we were just in a standard trips left, we would have this guy here. So what's going on here? This guy's running a curl, and how we teach our curl, we go 7 steps. So inside foot up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We go 2 in, 1, 2, and then 1 back. Sorry, my drawing sucks. 7 steps vertical, 2 steps inside, and 1 step back. 7, 2, 1. This kid asks what I have. You run a curl? We say 7, 2, 1. 7, 2, 1. And we're getting a lot better at that one too.
Yeah.
This guy is running a post. Sorry, I'm drawing on a wooden table. It's got a bunch of jagged lines in it. He's got the post, bam, there. And this guy's flying. He's going fly motion, but he's going to be out here, and he's running a wheel. And then we have our back just as a check down. So we got a 4 strong concept. You'll see him flaring out. Like I said, it's been great for us so far. We're getting that. Oh, we missed it. So really, the curl window is what progression here. I'm teaching alert the post. Okay. So he should be thinking that's just your initial look. So he throws it here, but really, I don't want him throwing the post unless he's wide open. This guy just completely has a bust and he's wide open. But we're thinking wheel to curl to check down. Wheel to curl to check down for the QB. So get fly motion. Let's see. We got the wheel. We got probably either one of them, the wheel or the curl. Throws the post. We get on the film. get on the board and tell them, hey, dude, look at your curl window. You got your curl or your check down. The check down comes flying out here too. So, coachable moment. So that was a last week sort of thing. As we got into our 7-on-7s this week, it's been pretty good for us. Drifts a little too far for my liking. Need him to push up for 7, 2, and then not come flying back inside so far. He still stays in the window, but I don't want him getting too far in here where this guy can get in the picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the window is there. It's been there for us. I want my back probably to go out a little harder than that. He's kind of coasting. I want him busting out there sprinting. Post occupies, especially when your post is from a stud. Takes 2 guys with him. Wheel occupies the corner. Bam. That backer isn't getting that curl window. Especially when you're playing real football and that guy actually takes a run read and not just.
Yeah, he's the will. I mean,
he's not bailing out of there. If
for all intents and purposes, it's the will pushing all the way across on 4 strong. So it's
not doing it. So if he wants to bail like that, then we're going to run till the cows come home. So
yeah,
we'll take advantage of that.
Yeah, defensively, your best bet is to have the mic hang the curl window and let the flare draw him down to it.
So we've been giving our defense fits, and this was Cook County. We, did a pretty good job against them with it. We did a pretty good job against Madison County against it. And, our D coaches are struggling right now getting their guys to defend that curl window. So this is Monroe out of Albany. And this was Monday. Work this. Let's see how that looks. Throws the post ball. Wasn't there. Really, I told him, you see this wheel clear it right there, and that guy just kind of, half-ass little, I wouldn't really call that walling, He kind of just gives him a little touch there on number 1. Bam, ball out right there. You got an arm. Put it out here where this dude's at over here. This dude hanging out on the sideline. I trust you to make that throw. If you make that throw and it sucks, then I'll eat it. That's on me. But like I said, he's good and you got a good arm. So we start getting better and start drilling our curl window quite often.
There it is.
So that's been hitting for us. So there's the curl window again for us.
Beautiful.
I still want him pushing a little bit more vertical, full 7. Push for 7, stick for 2, and come back at 1. 7, 2, 1. I need my wheel to get a little bit better takeoff on that too. He was gas. He was playing all the defense because he's our outside linebacker too. So, luxury of 1A football. Hey, you just got done, taking 10 reps and 7-on-7 on D. Guess what? Get your ass in there on offense too. Let's go. Luckily he's a good kid and works. But ideally, when we're running that, and we worked it today a little bit more, if I can get him a little bit tighter, I want that dude literally, scraping paint right off his ass, right off his butt. Yeah. So if this guy is trailing, if we get you right off the butt, then you naturally get a little rubber out there. You know what I mean? So we're working the timing and all of that and getting our guys comfortable with, our alignments. Got to get a little bit better in some of these. Our dudes, our younger guys kept wanting to drift in on their alignment in here. We're on the curl. I'm like, dude, let's just, let's think football here. You got a route that's breaking inside, correct? Like, yeah. So where do you think you need to align a little bit? You need to cheat out maybe just a couple steps because your route's taking you inside. Give yourself more room to run it.
Yeah.
If you keep condensing down here or there, you got no room to run that curl. And then one of these jokers in here might actually have a chance to make a play.
Yeah, especially on a 4-strong concept, being wide helps.
So we're just spacing, and we're working all that with our guys and their alignment. So we're getting better at that too. Oh boy!
Oh,
can't look at that.
Strawberry moon.
Another one. Might be able to see a little something. Can't be showing that. Sorry. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna hurt my eyes here. So we bang the post. It's a tight window. Okay. So we're slow on that wheel again. We hit our little guy. Said, incoming freshman. He's going to be a pretty good player for us. Got a little wiggle to him. Tight window there. Really, if you can't fit that window right there, I got no problem if you just threw this check down right here.
Yeah.
I'll take our running back against that guy any day of the week. But,
I love that. Well, we used to call it a post curl, but that curl route is awesome for a quarterback, especially learning a new scheme. Like you're coming in, developing something. It creates a very clear window for that quarterback so that it's there in his face. You know, everything You're doing, hitches, the slants. It's creating really clear windows for your quarterback. And when you're introducing a new system, that's very important to do.
100%. And this kid right here, we didn't have him in the spring. He transferred over from Kairos. So, I mean, last, whatever that was, Monday was the first time we've seen him. So, you know, when you got
a syrup maker, huh?
The syrup makers. He's one from, you know, eating syrup to being a Trojan now. My cat's making noises. Get out of here, cat. Get out of here.
Probably one of the better mascot names in the country, the syrup makers.
Syrup makers is as good as the Freeport pretzels. That's where I came from in Illinois.
Yeah. Jeez.
The goofiest names you could think of up in the cornfields of Northwest Illinois. But yeah, it's good one, the syrup makers. But yeah, no, that curl window has been great for us, and it's been a nice, clean window for us. Be honest, right now when we run in this concept, we're hitting that curl probably about 70% of the time. So you see it kind of open up again here. We got to get our wheel just a little bit wider. You know, a young guy we're getting coached up at Y. We want him clearing all the way out here behind that curl. So we just want to get that a little bit cleaner. We don't want him that close to the curl window. And our young buck running the post, he can't stop. He's got to go.
Yeah.
So he stops right here and, you know, gets a little hairy, but we still fit it in the window. But we need him to keep going. Take that dude, take him with you. All right, get out of there. And that's like a big thing we're also preaching to our guys is, hey, there may be times you're running your route, and hey, that concept is not designed for you to get the ball.
Correct.
If you get the ball, great, but you have to do your job to get your buddy open. You know, just selfless football. We got to do what we can to get our buddies open. We'll take that. Like I said, I don't have a problem with that. You know,
I thought your wheel guy was going to murder your curl guy here.
Yes, that's you know, young guy, T-Swizzle as I'm calling him. T-Swizzle, get a little wider, dog. Come on, I need you out here by the numbers. Said he's getting it. You know, said in the spring he was playing outside linebacker, backer. I don't even know what he was playing. Honestly, I didn't even know the kid until they brought him over this, you know, last week and said, hey, he's going to play some Y for us too. I'm like, sure, why not? Didn't even know his name, but, you know, a young guy named Tony, he's doing a good job for us. He's getting a lot better. But, you know, I'll throw it to the 10-8 guy, you know, in the backfield. He's okay too.
Yeah, if he runs the 10-8, he's A-okay.
Yeah. He's a good player. Nothing there, you know, nothing came open there, but, you know, like I said a million times already today. Oh, we ran the wrong route, so that was the problem. If we run our curl the way it's supposed to and get wheel right there, I mean, there's our window again. We screw up the concept. Then it just turns into, oh, my guy's better than you. Throw it to him. And you're not going to stop that, so. Oh, bad film. Bad drone. eat it. This is where I teachable moment for it. I don't think it gets picked off, but you don't have anything here. Oh, you do have your check down though. Look at your check down.
Yeah.
I don't need you. I know we got George over here who's a stud, but they did not cover the check down. Bang that out, and we'll live to play the next down. Live to play the next down. Ran it down here in the red zone. Said I don't remember what happened. Let's see here. Post sits it down, which did not turn out real well. Got to keep going, buddy. And he dropped it. Teachable moment, though. Keep running your route.
Yep.
Keep running your route, and our curl gets screwed up out there. He just kind of runs like a stop route or whatever that may be out here. If he gets in that window, I think that's probably there too. I think this was a freshman. That was a freshman. So young puppies getting their feet wet. Get that out now. Throw that curl.
Coach, what do you...
the guy catches it, but like from the field, actually, with how bright the sand was, like you could not see a line out there. So we're like, oh, he scored. Then we realized, no, he was 5 yards out of bounds when he caught that. Couldn't see a thing out there.
Matt, what were we saying there?
So, Coach, you're looking wheel before you're looking curl. What's the timing of that? Is he trying to read that off his third step? He's looking wheel right now, or is he looking to get where that wheel is getting past that receiver?
So we want that wheel to clear that curl, so we've got to get all the way around it. So like I was saying today, we kept working, and we got to get a little bit more width on it. But that comes with we got to get a little wider out here, get tighter with that dude so we can get a natural rub. QB, we're telling him big threes, so we got to get a little bit more in our drop just so we can time that up a little bit. It's kind of like, a real quick three, but I want a little bit bigger drop there. So we're getting a full three, and then it's just coming back down. So the wheel, to curl, to check down.
Yeah.
So just that look. But like I said, we got to get alignment cleaned up, get our Y out a little bit further out, just a hair, where he can get a natural. He can get out wider, because in here, he's not making it all the way where we need him. It's not that quite dramatic, but you get what I'm saying. We don't want him way in here because it's going to take him a long time to get out there. We need to take it in here, in that somewhere in here where we can scrape paint right off that guy's tail there.
Yeah.
Get some width on it. Make sense?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Don't really remember here. Let's see. Okay. So I think we ran that wrong. This was George's first day running it, maybe, or second day. He doesn't run his curl. Let's see. The wheel kind of converts into the back of the end zone. Just find space. Throw it to your other 6'3" dude.
Solves a lot of problems there.
What's that?
Solves a lot of problems when you have the 6'3" guys.
Yeah. So 6'3" and 6'3" or 6'4", that helps with ball skills. So, like I said.
No, but I think this will be, interesting film. Maybe we need to revisit you at the end of the year and look at how far these guys will come. Like you said, new system, new everything. Yeah. And now, by week 8, it won't be like this, right? It'll be such a different thing. And I think that's where high school football is such a great thing of transforming kids from maybe not knowing anything about your system or maybe not knowing anything about football sometimes in places you show up where, you get that kid off the basketball court and then, by week 8, it's like, oh, this guy's a football player with an offer. And you kind of laugh. You're like, look, 9 weeks ago, that kid was in the gym and he was a 6'4", basketball player with no offers because he's tiny on a basketball court at 6'4". Yeah. But
no, I'm with you. That's kind of what I sometimes when, are not too bad, but sometimes our coaches will get frustrated with things. And I, just say, hey, coach, like in the spring, this, like at times I was saying, this is day 4 in the system. Yeah. Like, now we're like, hey, coach, we're 3 weeks into the system. Like, I don't expect things to be pretty on, June 9th. Like, we're prepping this baby for how it's going to look in November and December. Yeah. That's where we want to play.
When it counts.
So, like I said, just from this was last week, this film right here, and the ones you saw where we were banging that curl window earlier, like that was this week. Like I felt like even in a week we've made leaps and bounds.
Oh, 100%.
So, I mean, we're just, like I keep saying, we're getting better every single day. Just I talk with the coaches. The head coach has been phenomenal. Yeah, I can't even talk. Phenomenal so far. He's given me the keys to the offense and let me do my thing. And he's an offensive guy.
Yeah.
This is your baby. I'm going to be the head coach. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to drift. I'm going to go over to defense. I'm going to help here as needed. But this is you. You are in charge of this 100%. And supports me. So, I really got lucky. Like I said, he reached out to me in January, February about it. And he's been great. So give me the keys and I'm running with it. So,
yeah, no. Good. And, kind of a unique perspective in Georgia right now. A friend of the show just took over as a head coach in North Georgia. And, it's kind of the same thing. He's like, oh man, he's like, I think we got really good athletes. He's like, man, we got to teach some ball up to these guys. They've been running X, Y, or Z, and now they're trying to, run A, B, and C, right? Yeah. And so it's such a funny thing. And, the first week I talked to him, he's like, well, we're rough right now. Like, man, I hope we can run zone by the end of spring, right? Yeah. And now he's like, oh, man, we were cooking the other day and doing that, and it was clicking. I was like, yeah, it's been 3 total weeks, man.
Yeah, that's kind of what I have to keep telling him, like, just chill. Like, coach is like, oh, man, that looked like crap, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, coach, like, we're going to get where we need to be. If, I tell the coaches, let's continue to preach this same message, and we cannot veer from the standards offensively.
Yeah. And I've been there as a coach. Matt will tell you, sometimes I struggle to see the 10,000-foot view.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen. But I think, perspective of not being in football the last 3 years is that's given me a lot of like, look, it takes time. It's the process, right? That really makes it. And to be honest with you, the process is the funnest part of it. I don't, there's the things that I miss about not coaching right now are the process, right? Yeah. It's not, the Friday nights were great, but the process throughout the week and the growing and all that stuff was the stuff that you missed, the stuff that matters,
100%. And
I can't even tell you half the games we won. I don't even remember, Matt.
It's a blast. I mean, right now, like I said, there's dudes, but I'm just enjoying just seeing it even like more, probably I get more satisfaction in watching some of these like freshmen and sophomores that in the spring, like there's no chance in hell you could have convinced me that these guys were going to do anything productive. And now just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, they've made huge improvements. I mean, these guys are like incoming freshmen, sophomores.
And some of those guys at some point in your season on varsity, whether they're sophomore or something like that, is going to have to make a play for you. Absolutely. We all know this, right? Yep. There's some 16-year-old walking around in your program that's going to have to make one play for you in week 8, and it's going to matter.
No doubt about it.
And that's football, right? Because someone gets banged up or they get injured or this or that. And then here we are, the kid who we were, like you said, last spring, we were hoping this kid would never touch the ball. And here it is. We got to give him the ball in a key situation. Yep.
No doubt. That's why we keep preaching to all of our guys, on our staff that we got to continue to develop depth. And we're kind of blessed at a 1A school. We got 55, 60 kids, which most 1A schools don't have.
Yeah, wow.
But, like it's been a good program. So, I wake up fired up every day to get over to Quitman, Georgia. I think I got problems and my wife thinks I have problems, but, I wake up at 4:00 in the morning without an alarm and I'm just fired up, getting unhuddled, doing Lord knows what.
I'm not that far off from me, Coach.
Yeah,
I don't. You want to talk about wife thinking you're crazy? How about not having a football coaching job, waking up and your wife being like, "What are you doing? No one pays you to do football anymore. What are you doing?" So
it's who we are. You can't take it out of us.
No, you really can't. So Coach, go ahead and hit stop sharing there real quick for us. We're going to look, every podcast we do, we always finish with one specific question. And maybe you have to go back to your last school. Maybe you can do it here. I know you're new.
Yeah.
But we're going to ask it anyways because we don't give a crap. What is the most unique or different thing that your program does that no one else does?
Oh, boy.
And, we'll give you leeway. If you have to go back to the last program and talk about it, we're okay with that.
The unique thing that our program does. I'm still learning a lot of the traditions and whatnot.
Yeah, it's a little bit of unfair question if you've only been over there for a few weeks, but
or maybe one of your past programs.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I can give you probably one from. I'll give you one from Valdosta and then one from Brooks.
Yeah.
So Valdosta, which I'm sure people have seen, but is you leaving the locker room, banging the tin, watching the tin from the locker room. That was a really unique experience, seeing all that like for the first time. You watch all the stuff on Netflix and everywhere else, and to see all that was cool, and just all that goes on with that. I'd say Brooks County, when we walk to the practice field and get ready to go, we have a massive hammer that they have in the ground. Is the motto is bring the hammer.
Yeah.
The massive hammer that's like 7 feet tall or 6 feet tall. It's in the ground like a big post, and you got to hit the hammer every single day when you go out to practice. So I would say that. And when we go on the field, obviously we're carrying our big hammers as well.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm learning a lot of the traditions and things they do, but just the infinity, the love with bringing a hammer.
Yeah. No, I like it. And
That's
I know it's a tough
are.
question with you coming over to a new place, but we're going to ask it anyways.
Yeah, no doubt. So it's kind of it's ingrained in those kids' head. They grow up Brooks County thinking bring the hammer. And it's a program built on physicality. We got freaks, but at the end of the day, we want to be a physical football team on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and I think that's the unique, being a guy who coached in Florida and everything, the unique aspect about Georgia and Texas, some of these other places are the community. And not saying that places in Florida don't have it, because Madison County clearly has the community there. But a lot of us play in places in some of these cities where there's not, there's a small community around the school, but not quite like, in rural Georgia or somewhere like that. So I think that's a really cool aspect of it, is that you have those pieces to it. So
that's same way when I was at Ware County last year in Waycross, like those kids grow up loving to be a Ware County Gator. It's been fun to be part of just traditionally strong programs, and I've been blessed and lucky to be a part of great programs and just meeting good people. But yeah, the community love for their, Ware County Gators or their Brooks County Trojans or their Valdosta Wildcats, it's been awesome to be a part of it. Fun to see.
Yeah, I've been up there to Quitman. I've been up there to Quitman, Georgia, and that's a blue-collar town if I've ever seen one.
Without a doubt.
Had some family up in that area, and you can tell there's going to be some hard workers there in that program just from the community they come from.
Community believes it. We had a parent come up and ask, like during spring, can you please have my son get hit on the football field? He needs to get hit. He needs to get tougher. Like a mom, not a dad. A mom come up and say, my son needs to get hit on the football field. So, like, if you got moms coming up and saying that you need to get your son, like, get the pads on and get him hit a little bit, like, I'm in the right spot.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Coach, I appreciate you joining us tonight. It's always a pleasure having coaches on from Georgia. We love our Georgia coaches and coaches all around the country. So thanks for coming on. We appreciate having you.
Absolutely.
For me and Matt.
Appreciate you guys and bringing me on here. It's been a lot of fun.
No, absolutely, Coach. For me, Matt, and Coach Blackbourn, we'll see you guys next week.